So this is a really big one for us tonight, especially Michael and I, and we're also joined by Craig as well down there in Melbourne. But for Michael and I, we've already talked about this. We're sort of champing at the bit, aren't we, around Rhythm of Love being one of the most exciting Kylie albums for fans who go back a long way.
It's definitely the case. It's one of my all-time fave, and it's close to my heart. It's the actual traditional Kylie. It's the Kylie sound that we've grown to love, really. Huge turning point. So before we get into it, though, I just want to say a big shout out to Ralph Rotterdam, who is a big, huge Kylie fan in Germany. Poor old Ralph, there he was. He really wanted to be involved in this podcast, but his demands were just too high, let's put it that way. So he couldn't join us tonight. It didn't go well, but it's worth a shout out to you, Ralph. It really is. Rhythm of Love, of course, it was a huge moment in Kylie's career because this was verging of the scandalous, possibly, when Better the Devil You Know came out. I remember the expression canoodling with a black man with a video clip.
I think Hinch was on at the time.
Yes, I remember this. Yes, keep going.
And it was the, it was the lead story that night. It wasn't that over the top.
But for Kylie, because of where she was coming from and where she landed, that was for shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But, I thought it was cute. And obviously you saw her growing up, and I thought it was a great video and a great song, of course.
For me, I wouldn't say I was scandalised, but it was very exciting. I hadn't seen Kylie with the straight, long, blonde hair there before. She took control. The story is that Stock Aitken and Mortimer were very, very nervous and making a lot of phone calls when she was filming this video clip because they were getting feedback about what's she doing, what's she up to. They wanted the safe. Don't forget, the last video clip she'd made was Tears on My Pillow before this one. So we're in that safe, enjoy yourself zone. And all of a sudden, the short wig, the hot pants, the famous hot pants, and here we are. It was the beginning of Sex Kylie.
Well, it was a time where she was dating Michael Hutchence, and he's a sex god. So he played a big influence in this change, obviously.
Sure.
And he, the blinkers were off, as they say. And Sex Kylie was here. And we loved Sex Kylie. It was sexy. It was, the song was on par. Kylie was just like, grown up, and she's a woman now. She's no longer the girl next door, and this is where the gay community lapped her up. So that was the start of me personally falling in love with Sex Kylie and loving the music. And it was cool music in the 90s. The dance music was happening, the whole,
Absolutely, yeah. That's another big point to remember, is that 1990 or 89 really. 89, you had Kathy Dennis, you had Black Box, you had Technotronic, all coming. Yeah. So it really was an explosion, and I'm from Sydney. I was living in Sydney at the time. Yeah, it was a magnificent time to be part of dance music, to be in Sydney in 1990. Kylie sort of transformed.
She was absolutely coming of age, and what I loved about this, and the reason it works so well, you have three factors. First and most importantly, you have a freaking good song. Like, this is an anthem. It's still an anthem. It's a great tune. It's a brilliant tune. But second of all, it was not fake. This image change was the real deal. Kylie had changed, and this was the time I loved. You watched the interviews around this time. Unapologetic, slightly bitchy, aloof Kylie has arrived on the scene. Interviewers would go, "What's with the image change?" And she just sort of flick her hair a little bit and go, "Well, I wasn't going to be 18 forever. What do you want?" Sort of thing. And you could just see the Michael and the sex oozing out of this girl. So it wasn't fake. This wasn't contrived. And I'm not putting down dancing in the golden era at all, but there's a lot of work goes into these image changes for each album, but not here. This was her. This was a real deal change, and it came through in spades.
She was, I loved the interviews at this era because she kept things back. We couldn't really, she wouldn't let us in.
She was
what I mean? Yeah, there was a mystery about it. That's the one.
Yeah.
There's a mystery about the whole era, and it was Sex Kylie at its best. Like, seriously, all the videos. Yeah, every one of those videos was just Sex Kylie. It was just like, mate, she owned it. She owned that era. Really, she did.
So natural, nothing contrived. That's why every one of those videos was this girl just, this is who I am and I'm proving it and I don't care. I absolutely love it. I love the suit in Shocked too, but we'll get to Shocked soon. So that was track one. There was, my recollection is that there was this huge gap between Better the Devil You Know and Step Back in Time, because I remember as a, back then I'd bought, the 12-inch, the 7-inch, the cassette single. I recorded the video off TV. Better the Devil You Know was my favourite song. I was really waiting for that next one. So there's a lot of theories around why there was such a delay between single 1 and 2. Have either one of you heard any of those theories, why there was such a delay?
Well, apparently the second single was supposed to be What Do I Have to Do? And yeah, because it was there was mixes to be made, it was Step Back in Time was brought as a second single.
Right.
I just find it I just find it interesting that she had the guts to sort of take a little bit more control of the videos and the image and all of that sort of thing. But if we could just backtrack to the last single of the last album, Enjoy Yourself, and the B-side, Tears on My Pillow, We Know the Meaning of Love.
Yeah.
I think that was a real departure from everything else, and I think it was a real segue into Rhythm of Love.
That's cool, because obviously with Rhythm of Love, she demanded that she wanted more input with the music, and she co-wrote a couple of tracks on that.
She sure did. She went over to LA and places in America. I think it was mainly LA. She actually wrote with Stephen Bray, who was one of Madonna's favourite collaborators, Like a Prayer, and wrote Count the Days and Rhythm of Love. So
yeah, she collaborated also with Martika. Remember Martika? I Feel the Earth Move Under My Feet. she
really did? Really?
Yeah, not with Martika, her producer.
Martika. Right, okay.
Yeah.
And she loved it. The interviews around that time where she spoke about, she often referred to her writing in LA and going over to America. So it had a profound effect on her, actually recording away from the production team that she was so used to.
Yeah, totally.
But
totally. I love that American sound. It really, to this day, I love those songs.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah, but we'll get to those anyway. But,
well, we will. So, and then single 2 comes along, Step Back in Time, which was fun. I'm really glad that Rhythm of Love still has that fun moment on it, where it's not Kylie always trying to be completely mature and serious and credible. Step Back in Time was a great fun track, wasn't it?
The hot pants were still there in that era. Did you notice that? She was always wearing those hot pants.
Absolutely.
Did the call just drop out again? So it all has to do with the party scene. I was big in the party scene in the 90s in Sydney, and I was going to this, I used to hang out at this club in King's Cross called Ziggurats. And it was just hip-hop, and it was crazy, and it was, it was drug-fueled, it was alcohol-fueled, it was the whole 9 yards. They played Step Back in Time one night. I couldn't believe it. I just literally couldn't believe it, because this place was just so cool, too cool for school.
Was it a remix or just a straight single?
Just straight out the 12-inch standard remix.
Wow.
And not long after that, I bumped into her and Michael walking along the street one night.
In Oxford Street, or?
It was in Oxford Street. It was in Oxford Street, and I just said, oh my God, Kylie! Even though Michael was standing there, and she turned around and she talked to me for a couple of minutes, and I just said, do you know why the UK gets all these remixes and we don't, and all of these questions, and it was just so funny. It was like Michael Hutchence didn't even exist, and there was this moment where they kind of acknowledged that I was just talking to her. And he, was this big major pop star, and he was just sort of standing to the side, and it was funny. Yeah, she was so generous. And it wasn't the first time I saw her either around that time. I saw her several times around that era. And also I saw her and Michael on the motorbike, because I used to camp outside the Seabull townhouse where she used to stay.
Waiting for her
with all the other fans. She was very generous every single time.
Wow.
She'd sign records the vast majority of the time, except for Locomotion, the Aussie single.
But she wouldn't sign that
she would, but all the other ones she'd do really nice autographs, sort of in a nice position on the 7-inch or the 12-inch or whatever. And then Locomotion, she just did it right over the face.
Oh,
really
get out. Oh, my goodness. Are you serious?
Hey, guys.
So,
can I just say something? Kylie Minogue's dancing video is officially on video now. It's on YouTube.
Oh, get out. This is breaking news.
Can we fucking break it and watch this or what?
All right, Craig, Michael, let's stay calm. We're going to stop. We're going to pause, and I'll ring you both back.
Because dancing's on right now official. Okay.
This is so good that it happened during this recording.
No. We have to. Can we do that?
What is happening?
Can you call us back? We got to watch the video.
Craig doesn't even know what's happening. The dancing video is officially released on YouTube. So I'm going to call you both back in 10 minutes, okay?
Yeah, call back. We're going to watch this. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, call back.
Bye.
I love you guys. All right. I watched it again. I've just shared it on Facebook.
Oh, you're a champion.
I fucking love dancing, man.
Oh, I really, really want to watch. It seems really mean, but I want to get this done so I can go and watch it. I want to go because I've got my big screen. Like I bought this awesome. Anyway, it's a long story.
Good on you.
We're taking a breath, breathe. Kylie says, relax. It won't be long now. All of that.
I love you, Jim.
But we're professional, Michael. We're going to do this. We're going to do it. We're up to track 3 of Rhythm of Love.
Yes. And it was very Vogue driven, very...
I agree, yeah.
Style, yeah, wasn't it? It was very...
I hadn't thought of that until now, but you're right. It was around the same era and the same sort of black and white, the same stylish appeal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very Vogue-ish, stylish style, very glamour, Hollywood, very Richard Bardot and all those iconic. Amazing.
In fact, I think she wanted to have as many different big starlets of a style of in one video. I think she actually says that in the behind the scenes. Dannii Minogue features in this video clip as well.
You see her, but you don't.
You see her, but she's in a little blonde wig, and it was a nice gesture at the time because those rumours, which still persist today, were that the rivals and all that sort of stuff. So around that same time, Kylie had written the track "Love Traffic" for Danny's album, so that was a bit of a gesture. But here was the payback, whatever you want to call it, but further gestures to show that all is well in Minogue sisterland.
Yeah.
And the fans appreciated that, even though we were always ferocious about poor old Dannii. But how about the song itself, Michael? What do I have to do?
Look, what do I have to do to get the message through? How can I prove that I really love you? Love you. So it's quite universal, the message.
Yeah.
But it was a remix that really made that song. It was remixed from the album version.
Well done. Yes.
The single version.
Much better.
Yes, and the echo and the dance music. It was just Club Kylie springs to mind. All the clubs started to play Kylie Minogue at that time too, around Europe, in England. So that she was Australia. She's becoming a bit of a club.
I would argue "What Do I Have to Do" was actually the first single she released where Club Kylie was born, because she was a fringe club artist for quite. Through Rhythm of Love, Let's Get To It, around that time. And this was the first song. It's a bit dark, isn't it? Better the Devil Step Back in Time, still light, even though fantastic songs. This is your first sort of club-esque, getting there.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. And the video, I mean, seriously, and the song itself, Kylie, the style, like it was just awesome. The whole package.
The whole package. It was fantastic. Yeah. And then we go through to a few album tracks here. We've got Secrets, Always Find the Time, and The World Still Turns, which for those people out there like me still remember side 1, side 2. Yep, that was that would bring us to the close of side 1. We've got to go to Always Find the Time.
Yeah, you're right. What springs to my mind?
What's that?
Let's get to it. Where she's dancing with what's his name, Benno.
Benno, that's right. And you know what? At the anti-tour, I don't know if you noticed this, Will Baker tells that she's actually horrified by that moment in Let's Get to It tour, that particular dance for some reason, even though, funnily enough, it's one of my favourites. And until I heard she was horrified. So at the anti-tour, she actually broke into that exact dance for about just 3 seconds and then stopped and just was like horrified that she'd even embraced that part of her past.
But that was cool dancing. That was the old school kind of like, touching legs, dancing, the whole dance move thing with Venom.
Dry humping in a plastic coat. That's what it basically was.
And then she goes bang, and then he kind of like when she just pelvic thrusts him across the stage. and then there's this particular look that she's got on her face that just looks wrong. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It brings back classic Kylie, right? That was awesome.
It's only funny when we look back. At the time, I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't even stack up to Jazzy P. But anyway, we'll get to her too.
Oh my God, Jazzy P was another story. I'm going to get sexier.
Oh, I think this dancing video clip's got us delirious. And the world still turns.
And that was written with Michael J, the producer for Martika.
Oh, that's him, is it?
That's him, Michael J. So that brings to mind, the world still turns.
It's a great song too. I actually wish they'd update it because it does sound a little bit dated now, very 90s-esque. Although 90s is back, thanks Bruno Mars for that. But yeah, I love that song. Then we changed the tape. Okay. There we go, press play. We're on side 2 now. And now Shocked, the album version of Shocked is still fantastic.
I still love the album version of Shocked, yes.
Yeah,
that plays on my Kylie 50+1 at the moment.
Oh, does it really? Yeah? The album version?
Yeah, the album version's on that 50+1.
Because you've got this fantastic introduction. And you know what? This is why I always say you should listen to albums from beginning to end because they were made to be a journey. Shocked was deliberately put there because it starts off side 2. Like you've changed. I know it sounds really weird, but it's true. You don't need a short intro. You want to be reintroduced to the album, slowly immersed back in, and that's exactly what Shocked does at the beginning of the album version. Immerses you back into it, and then this fantastic song. But then she hits back when she releases it as a single. This mix, the DNA mix, is it called?
It's a DNA remix. Amazing. DNA, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Unbelievable mix. Much better.
Awesome. They completely changed the song. Adds Jazzy P to it. And we know Jazzy P.
Oh, we love her through the keyhole. I love looking at her.
Oh, mate. She sounds... she was great. I don't know what other music she's done since then, but she was awesome.
She was.
Yeah.
Larger than life in every way possible.
I love the 12-inch as well because there's another rap version.
Yes, she does a second rap. I don't know if many fans know that. There's not just Shocked Like the Lightning from Up Above. There's a whole different one on the the extended mix.
Yeah, that's right. And then there's the Let's Get To It live version. I'm going to get sexier.
Oh, no, come on. This is one of the greatest moments for any Kylie fan is when Jazzy P comes out.
Yeah. That was awesome. And she played to Kylie. She's very... it was so good live. So cool.
Yes. And Shocked has remained a big staple in her tours ever since.
And also Shocked was the most critically acclaimed single of the Rhythm of Love. So that was critically... Yeah, so that was awesome. And that was the 4th single of Kylie from the album, and which was obviously remixed and remastered. It's a pity they didn't release this in America. You know what I mean? There was no time for Kylie in America back then. I reckon she would have actually put a foothold back into the States if they had released this properly.
Yeah, they might have had to reorder the singles, but with Shocked as a bit of a lead and What Do I Have to Do? The club-esque songs, I agree. This could have been an American hit, absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. But didn't get an American release.
No, it didn't, no.
Didn't have, Now, Michael, just brace yourself, because track 8 on Rhythm of Love is... a little track known to fans as One Boy Girl.
Oh, love it. Mate, I still do the raps in my karaoke.
Hey there, Kylie.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kylie. What's up with this one girl thing?
Well...
let me break it down like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. And then she doesn't even do it, but for some reason we just associate Kylie doing the rap, but in fact the bulk of the rap isn't even Kylie.
And whoever it is, it was an awesome sounding rapper.
It never works. So there it is, such a camp moment. And now Will Baker, her longtime collaborator, friend, he begged her to do One Boy Girl on so many different tours, and she would just laugh, no. But at the anti-tour, finally he won his moment. I think she only did it once or possibly twice, actually, during the anti-tour. Very, very
I was
good.
there. I loved it. It was brilliant. She needed to do that song. I mean,
she did. But she still looked embarrassed. All those years later, she still looked just ever so slightly embarrassed singing that song.
but you know what? Because it kind of critically wasn't well received, One Boy Girl, from the album, because it was just a standout track on its own. You know what I mean?
But over time, it became so bad, it became cool. Very cool.
I mean, there's always Kylie doing. I mean, don't forget Kylie Minogue personally. She loves that kind of music. You know what I mean? So she loves the American tinge to that kind of to her sound.
Yeah.
Like like the Red-Blooded Woman, but we're not going to go there because it's not the sound. But you know, I mean, there's always some kind of American tinge to her. The records, you know, like All I See, for example, X. There's always something, and this is the One Boy Girl track.
and at some stage, we're going to get into this huge debate about whether she actually likes it or if it's a little bit of a cynical attempt to capture America's attention at the time. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Things can only get better. Now, this was a song I hated, I have to admit, but it's a fan favourite.
It's a bit of a grower, isn't it? I think it grows on you, this one. You know what I mean?
Like mould. Now we come to the two Stephen Bray songs, of course, Count the Days and Rhythm of Love, which rounds the album out, and of course is the title track. I love these two songs. They've got a jazzy, not quite jazzy, but like the saxophony vibe about them. They're great.
I love, even Rhythm of Love. There you go. She always does that French thing, doesn't it? In the middle of I don't know what she said.
Yeah.
Rhythm of Love. She's always had that French thing sounding there for probably the album. I don't know. There's a French something in there.
Yeah, she always likes to throw that in. But these are very very cool, aren't they? Classy.
Love classy tracks. Kylie's co-written them. She's gone to America. She's actually, that's her kind of, that's what she wanted. So it means a lot for a Kylie fan like myself to know that Kylie Minogue's actually put her heart on this particular track.
Yes.
She's gone out there and away from the stock Aitken Waterman sound,
Yes.
So it was awesome, and I loved it. I loved them because it was very different for Kylie, at the same time still Kylie, because she wrote them, co-wrote them.
And for anyone who was very attuned to the Stock Aitken and Waterman sound, which I was, it wasn't just Kylie for me, like I was into everything they did. I could tell when I put this on, I didn't look at the writing credits. The first time I listened to it, I knew those two songs stood apart. They just sounded different. The production value's the same. You can tell that they've tinkered with it somewhere and brought it into the fold, but you could just tell they stand out. They're different tracks, and she was very proud of them. She performed Rhythm of Love live a few times back, like when this was released, I'm talking about. Yep. I wish she'd bring it back to a modern tour too. It's really good. Updated, of course, but yeah, I think they're two great tracks, two of my favourites. So the roundup, Michael, of Rhythm of Love, the album, by the way, there was the tour edition with the gold cover. We've got to talk the cover. The cover's just phenomenal.
Oh, my God. I shared the cover today on Facebook to say that I'm talking to you tonight.
Yeah.
But then when I was sharing, I was like, fuck, it's so sexy. It's so phenomenal. So like plain, but also so powerful. It was just her looking different as well. Darker eyebrows. Just, sexy.
Photos that look like they were taken in a desert somewhere, but they're just beautiful. Some of my favourite Kylie photo shoot. It's probably my favourite Kylie shoot ever, actually. There's a whole series of them done out, and like I say, it looks like the desert. I have no idea where they were taken, but they're wonderful photos. Wonderful.
I agree with you.
So we've got to round up by saying this album shift Kylie world on its axis. This put her in a whole new dimension, put her in a new direction. You could just tell she was taking control. This was the image. She was now not a puppet. No longer a puppet. She was her own artist, and the word artist could truly begin to be applied to Kylie at this stage.
Yeah, I agree with you. As an album, like worldwide selling and so forth, charting, it wasn't as successful as Enjoy Yourself or Kylie album, but it made an impact. So it was definitely a top 10, number 9. It sold a platinum in the UK. And in Australia, it got to number 13 on the charts after entering at number 17. So for Kylie, she was more like a singles artist back then. She was never an albums artist. Things have changed over the years.
They do.
But it made her into the club starting to recognise that she was in top 20 in Israel, in Ireland, in Sweden, and France. So it was, it was an album of transition.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of describing it, an album of transition. But I'm always astounded, on one hand, that the chart numbers and the sales figures aren't higher. Let's not get it wrong though. They were still fantastic album sales and single chart positions and all of that. But when I look back, the quality of these songs I always think should be higher. But I would still argue, even though not sales-wise or chart-wise as successful as Kylie or Enjoy Yourself, but this was a more important album. This album ensured longevity. You know how many pop stars that's it, they've got a use-by date? This was the album that ensured Kylie was never going to go away. Never. Oh, yeah. So it was much more important than the first two in a sense.
100%, because people were already washing Kylie off because that was the after Enjoy Yourself, and the Kylie album, people were like, Kylie will go away, and it was just perfect.
Put it another way, Michael, what if she'd released another album that was similar to the first two? Where would she be?
I would think that should be on her way out.
Yeah, that's it. We would have bought it, but that would have been it.
That's right. She had to change, or see you later.
That's right. So everyone out there listening, get the remastered version of Rhythm of Love. Put it on, listen to it from beginning to end.
And think of us, Michael and Tim.
That's right. And love it and embrace it.
And then after that, you can go out dancing.
Exactly. Then run to the video like we're about to and watch dancing.
Watch it again on the bigger screen. But it's been an awesome album. Means so much to me as a Kylie Minogue fan. Always special to my heart. And this was like the Kylie that we've all grown to love.
Michael, thanks so much for talking Rhythm of Love with me tonight.
Anytime.
And thank you, Craig, too, even though I don't think we quite explained poor old Craig. He mysteriously disappeared through technical issues halfway through. But thank you very much, Craig, for your input too, and we hope to have you back.
No worries.
Thanks, Michael.
No, a pleasure, Tim. See you later.
Bye.